What if our sun turns into a real-life Death Star, gobbling up Earth like a cosmic snack? Sounds crazy, right? Well, get this, astronomers have actually witnessed such a wild event.
Fortunately, it is not. Every second in the universe, there's a star dying, a supernova explosion.
It all happened at Caltech's Palomar Observatory with the Zwicky Transient Facility, or ZTF, which is a collaborative project that systematically studies the night sky to detect and analyze temporary astronomical events. So buckle up, because we're headed 12,000 light years away from Earth, which in space talk is like popping over to the next door galaxy, all the way to the Aquila constellation. Here, astronomers stumbled upon a sun-like star that decided it was time to have a Jupiter-sized snack. But how did they even notice this star among the countless others in the universe? Well, this greedy star wasn't exactly subtle about its mealtime. Our star of the show was minding its own business when suddenly it upped the ante, getting more than 100 times brighter over just 10 days. It's as if it threw the wildest, most chaotic party in the universe, and then, in about 6 months, became the faint recluse it once was. Like a cosmic SOS, an unusual flaring radiation outburst caught our astronomers' attention. When they first saw this spectacular space spectacle, they thought it must be some black hole shenanigans or a tussle between two dense stars. But to their shock and awe, that's exactly what they were seeing. Now the big question is, how in the universe did they figure out this was a case of planetary engulfment and not just your regular run-of-the-mill supernova? Well, let me fill you in. Picture a supernova like the grand finale of a rock band concert. There are bright lights, there's chaos, and when it's all over, it leaves behind a swirling, fiery mess. In our case, this hot mess is a dense cloud of gases, mostly hydrogen and helium. That's the typical supernova we've come to know and love. But this star was playing a different tune altogether. Instead of the hot gaseous aftermath, our star was surrounded by a different kind of groupie, clouds of dust, but not the gassy kind. This was a rock concert, quite literally. And among this rocky debris, scientists found the so-called peculiar molecules. Now, before you imagine little green alien-like molecules running around with hats on, let me clarify. These peculiar molecules are just plain old molecules that show up in extremely cold temperatures. Normally, when stars get a bit too close for comfort, their rising temperatures can cause them to rip chunks of matter from each other. This usually results in clouds of hot gases. So the presence of these peculiar cold-loving molecules threw our scientists for a loop, and that's when it clicked. The planetary pieces fit together, and the truth became clear. We weren't dealing with a typical stellar event. No, this was something far more dramatic and gut-wrenching. We were witnessing a real-life tragedy, a star consuming its own planet. To understand this gnarly star-gobbling event a bit better, we've got to roll up our sleeves and delve into the wild ride that is a star's life. Consider it as an intricate process of transformation occurring in the wide expanse of space. The story begins in a nebula, a massive cloud of dust and gas floating in the cosmos. Gravity pulls the elements of the nebula together, and this contraction results in a heated, pressurized core. When the conditions are just right, a new star or a protostar is formed, marking the inception of the star's life cycle. Now, stars, like resources, are subject to the principle, the larger they are, the faster they burn out. As a star initiates its main sequence stage, it begins converting hydrogen into helium, emitting light and heat. This stage is the star at its prime, shining brightly and brimming with energy. However, all good things come to an end. The star starts running out of hydrogen fuel. Think of it as a machine running low on its energy source. As this happens, the delicate equilibrium between the star's gravity and the pressure in its outer layers is disturbed. Now the star begins to fuse heavier elements such as carbon, and as the core collapses, the star expands outwards, transforming into a white dwarf. This is a denser, hotter stage of the star that cools over billions of years until it becomes a black dwarf, a quiet, inactive star. But the stars larger than our sun have a slightly different narrative. Rather than quietly morphing into a white dwarf, these stars create a spectacular display at their end. They start by fusing hydrogen into helium and go on to fuse helium into carbon, and so on, until they form an iron core. This is where the final act happens. When the iron core is formed, It's like the star has reached its capacity. The core then collapses under its own weight until it can't contract anymore, and then it explodes. This explosion, known as a supernova, is a brilliant blast of energy and matter, one of the universe's most impressive displays. Now that we've taken a tour through a star's life, let's talk about why this whole space event matters to us. Why should we bother about what's going on so far away in space? Think of it this way, we aren't just gazing at stars for fun. Astronomers need these huge events to check if their ideas and theories about space are correct. This event is really important because it might help us understand what will happen to our own solar system in the far future. We've made good guesses about how our sun and planets will change, but seeing something like this happen gives us even more information. Finding a star eating a planet is really rare. There are so many things happening in space that can look similar to a star eating a planet, but this time we got lucky. Here's where our star, named ZTF SLRN 2020, comes in. This isn't some random code, it's the name of the star that ate a planet. ZTF stands for the observatory that found it. SLRN means it's a type of star that's not very bright. And 2020 is the year it was found. The Gemini South Adaptive Optics Imager, a tool really important for astronomers, played a key role in spotting something super rare. Catching a star in the act of devouring a planet is no common feat. We often arrive too late, left with only the crumbs. Spotting the actual occurrence is akin to pinpointing a meteor at the exact moment it sparks across the sky. Yet, this is exactly what astronomers managed with the Gemini South Adaptive Optics Imager. The star in question was more of a slow, methodical hunter than a quick predator, gradually encircling its victim. NASA's infrared telescope offered a detailed view of this drawn-out process. Over a 100-day span, the star slowly chipped away at the planet. Then came the climactic 10 days, the finale of this star-crossed saga. In this short but tumultuous period, the planet was fully consumed by the hungry star. A massive explosion marked the end of this journey, spraying the stellar dining room with fragments of the planet. The ejection of elements and materials from this celestial feast lasted roughly another 100 days. Talk about a long dinner. Does this sound familiar? If you've ever seen the movie Zathura: A Space Adventure, there's a scene where the house, transported into outer space through a magical board game, almost collides with the sun. It's not exactly the same, but the feeling of intense heat and destructive gravity, the sight of the house falling apart under the sun's gravitational pull, is eerily similar to what happened to our devoured planet. Just like the brothers in the movie were helpless as their house crumbled under the power of the sun, so was the planet as the star slowly stripped it away. It's a reminder of nature's untamed and destructive power on a cosmic scale, making the vastness of space a bit more thrilling and terrifying all at once. Will Earth have the same fate as this star? Earth, like other planets close to their stars, could eventually be engulfed by its host star, our Sun. In about 5 billion years, the Sun will run out of hydrogen, burn helium, and expand into a red giant, which could swallow the Earth. Don't panic though, it's a long way off. This event won't be a front-page story in our lifetime, or many generations after us. Still, it highlights how temporary our existence is on a cosmic scale. However, there's no doom and gloom here. With the time we have, we can continue learning and maybe find new homes among the stars. We've already achieved so much, like observing a star devouring a planet. And if you find incredible space observations fascinating, be sure to check out this video on the search for life from within our own galaxy. So, in a nutshell, the sun will change, Earth might get swallowed, but humanity, we've still got a lot of chapters left to write in our cosmic story.